I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker, Christy Stearns, who's dealing with water issues. But thank you, Christy, for joining us and with all that you got going on there in your county. But Christy is the Clinton County Extension Agent for Family and Community or Consumer Sciences, and she's the coalition chair for Clinton County, Kentucky. And I'm going to turn it over to Christy. And I just welcome everybody. Thank you for being here.
Well, I'll be echoing Sheila and saying thank you all. It sounds like regardless of where we are, all of us have some sort of weather challenge, and those weather challenges have also resulted in some water access challenges for us here in Clinton County. And so it's kind of changed the scope of the last few days for work and home life. But I did I made a very broad topic when Sheila asked me if I would present today, and just thought that we could spend some time sharing what our coalition has done to maintain itself and some of the programs that we have offered throughout the past several years. And so I don't have a long PowerPoint. I just have a kind of a snapshot of us and what we've done. And we'll just talk about things as we go along. I don't know that I'll even share anything that's earth shattering and brand new with some of you all, but I know that one of the things that has been most valuable to me since our community joined the Diabetes Network is just opportunities like this, to hear from other coalitions and for folks to be able to say, we did this program, here's how we set it up. It may not be able to replicate that exactly in my community, but it gave me something to come back with and to think about how we can continue to make an impact on community health and wellness overall. And so our coalition, hopefully technology is working okay in my favor right now. And Vicki knows somebody may have to nudge me to advance my screen because I just start talking and go with it. But our coalition was actually formed in 2007. We go as a health coalition, not specific just to diabetes prevention and intervention, but a health coalition for our community. And so we started in 07 and have really been able to maintain active involvement as a coalition, either throughout all of the issues, I guess I should say, when we've had funding, when we've not had funding, we've been able to, I honestly consider this one of our more effective coalitions in the community. I chair and facilitate, obviously, participate in a lot of community groups through extension. And I know that this health coalition is one in which is a good vessel for commitment, partnership, collaboration, and communication about issues that are going on in our community. So we do meet monthly. We share updates throughout the month, usually by email. We have a lot of community partners who are involved, and they'll forward updates. And honestly, I try as facilitator or chair or whatever my title may be, is to kind of consolidate all that information down instead of just doing a lot of forwards of that information, so that email inboxes are not bombarded, and you can just kind of see Health Coalition updates in their entirety. And of course, like everyone else, COVID prompted us to pivot and to look at our coalition activity and things a little bit differently. We have started, we started meeting virtually through Zoom when COVID hit. And honestly, that's been the best meeting format for us. What we have found since that point in time is, it allowed us to engage a lot of new members that maybe could offer services to our community but weren't local. It also then, allowed greater flexibility for some of our members to just be able to jump on a call. And so we saw that it both expanded membership and opportunity for us. And so we have just maintained that. We've tried a few times to say, hey, let's get back together in person. And everybody was just like, well, this is working good. And I'll be honest, I mean, I'm also spoiled by the opportunity for virtual interaction. And so We have a fairly, I guess, what I want to call a large coalition, if maybe not always direct involvement in each meeting, but just awareness of being able to send forward and help disseminate information and promote programs on our behalf. So we have a lot of different partners. And again, I'm sure you all do too. And stop me at any time if you've got something that you can share to add to the conversation, because that's what I look at this as, is just a conversation about what we're all doing. But we have a variety of different businesses that are have been involved in either events or coalition attendance. Our libraries, our schools, Kentucky's Family Resource and Youth Service Center uh, program may be a little bit different in your state, but those are folks who just provide some extra family support and intervention. We stay in touch with law enforcement and EMS. Sometimes that's directly as a result of some of our substance abuse prevention and intervention programs. Managed care organizations, Head Start, hospital. You all can see there. I don't know that it is something that's really unique to us. Whoops. Other than to say that I'll get this straight in a minute with all of my technology flipping here, but you can see that the list is large. The coalition attendance, the coalition roster, I guess, has, it's large. We will probably average somewhere around 10, sometimes up to 18 people on a call. You all know how it is. Sometimes you get 6 and you feel like you're still moving a mountain there when everybody can get together. And so, we've tried anyone who says we'd like to know more about what's going on in Clinton County. This is the group I try to connect them to, because there is such a diverse membership. And so, what happens in our monthly meetings, sometimes it's program and event planning. I mean, sometimes it's the core of what this coalition does. It's a program that they sponsor, that they coordinate. Other times it's just, we always have partners sharing. And I will be honest, during COVID, there were times I was like, why are we even getting our coalition together? We don't really, we're not programming, we're not doing some of those things. But I had someone on a call one day said there is value in just connecting. There is value in being on a call together and just saying, this is what's going on with me personally. This is what's going on in our organization or whatever. And it's very true. I mean, just connection and support can be of good value for all of us. And so occasionally, if one of our partners has a new update to share or a program, they may do just like what we're doing today. I mean, they may take the reins of screen share and go through some of those updates and things as well. And so some of the things that I'll talk about today are programs that have come specifically through our coalition, and others may just be something in which our coalition helps support that program. I will say, we've talked about email updates and things in between meetings, but we do not, I want to think about social media. Our coalition in Clinton County does not have its own presence on social media. And I guess for me personally, there's a couple of reasons why that's just never been something that I think we've pushed forward, is because honestly, I don't know that, ownership of what's happening is a real concern or issue in our community. So if we have a program that somebody's offering, you may see a lot of different logos at the bottom of that flyer, or you may see a lot of different agencies participating. And if we roll it out, then everybody is really good to share on their own social media outlets, which is great. And then that way, I don't feel like we have to, if I post something on my extension page and it really is on behalf of the coalition, then all of our partner groups are great to just go on and forward that. And they don't have to forward it from my page. They've got the graphic and they've got the detail. And if they want to post it as a direct thing off their page, then that's what we do. And so, our community, I think, though, recognizes lots of the things that our health coalition has done throughout its inception. And so I just wanted to make sure that I talked about that. So we have maintained involvement, not just in meeting as a coalition, but in offering community events since we started in 2007. And so in the very beginning, we did a lot of health fairs that were, again, short-term, kind of like pop-up health fair events that we could offer during like our local fall festival. And again, lots of different community partners engaged in that. And we tracked a lot of good demographics and screen pieces with that. But obviously, when it's happening during a local festival, you're not able to really do a lot of detailed assessments or screenings and connections. And so that format has changed throughout time. We used to do our second Sunday event. That was an extension based program, but like many of you, that was just all based upon walking and physical activity. And I will say that that has been one of the program, I guess, a program focus that we've been able to maintain success with since we started, is if we have programs that get people moving and get them moving just by walking. Those are some of the more effective programs for us. I mean, we've tried to offer a variety of other programs throughout the years, but walking is one in which people are comfortable, I feel like, and it doesn't make anyone feel like they have to have a very advanced skill set in order to be able to do that. And so that's what our second Sunday program was really all about. Years ago, I think, when we were able to do our conference face to face, which we all miss, I know we do. We shared some information about Big Blue Shape Up and our waging a war on weight programs, and all of those are, as you would expect, those were multi-week programs in which we had people track their eating habits, they track their activity level. We had challenges, in each of those weeks. And so, for instance, Big Blue Shape Up, we had a number of challenges in which people might have to track their water intake for a week, or they might have to take pictures to show us some of their more creative meals that they made. Or we did a lot of show us your my plate type of things, where we really talked about the importance of just a balanced plate and having a variety of foods. And so we tried to make it more than just people needing to come and weigh in, and to look at a number and to let that number be an indication of their health alone. And so, every Big Blue Shape Up that we offered was probably somewhere in 6 to 10 weeks uh, of a time span. And y'all know how it is. You start those multi-week programs and your numbers look really great at the beginning, and then possibly they start to kind of wane on us as time goes on. And so I do think that that is something that we've just shifted throughout the course of time. Our waging a war on weight, the weight loss wars, that period of time for us was really about taking the same sort of format of what we've been doing for our weight loss efforts with Big Blue Shape Up, and just getting in competition with our neighboring community. And so I don't know all the states that are represented, but for us in rural Kentucky, the rivalry between our two high schools in Clinton and Cumberland County and their sports teams really lends to a lot of good programming opportunities. I'll just be honest, and that's me speaking specifically too, even as an extension agent. But we waged that war on weight with Cumberland County, and so they had the program running the exact same time in the exact same format that we did in Clinton. And so we kind of kept up with updates about the weight that was lost, steps that was taken, water that was consumed, whatever all of our indicators and challenges were at the time. And then we actually announced the winner and presented the trophy during high school basketball games between the two communities and that sort of thing. And so, honestly, that was a lot of fun. I mean, that was something that we could kind of facilitate from a lot of different partnership levels. And so it just blends and lends, I think, itself to doing some different sorts of things. And so we focused a lot in the first, and when I say the early years, I may be talking about, these may have been things that we did, 4 or 5 years consecutively. And then it was just like, we need to we need to reassess where we are, and maybe we need to try different programs in different formats. And so we did do shopping matters, and so thankful for the connection to Marshall and the trainings that we were able to participate in early on. That was a good program for us, and we keep saying we're going to go back and cycle through those, and then different opportunities have probably prevented us from really putting it to the calendar, but our folks loved it. And I think for me it was just hearing people say, I've been grocery shopping all my life, and I don't think we call it shopping matters anymore. It's Sheila, guide
It's
me.
cooking matters at the store.
Cooking matters.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, we people were like, this is what I do. But when you actually go through that and you're there and you point things out to people and you just have that group share and dynamic, I think it was wonderful. Now, I'll be honest, again, I've said, we've maintained this with financial support and in times in which we've not. Early on, when there were those dollars to support it and people could go and get their $10 worth of groceries and everything, they loved that. But I'll be honest, they loved it too when we went and just said, hey, here we are, let's go through this. That was a lot of times we would even take, at one point in time, it was just our Head Start program, like their parent group. It was a parent education piece for them. And so we just went out and did the program. And so sometimes if we didn't have the funding on behalf of the coalition, maybe the partnering agency that we were working with had some dollars, and it might not be a $10 thing, but it just something that they could walk away with. But I think the knowledge and the experience was very positive for people as well. And so I don't know, I'll just kind of pause right there. Anything you all have offered in your communities that sounds similar to any of those that you want to share about or ask questions of any of these? And I will say, I mean, all my contact information will be here at the end. And if there is something that I have sped through talking about today and you want some more details, or I could share a handout or flyer or any of our information, I am more than happy to do that, because I'm certainly say there's no reason for all of us to reinvent the wheel if there is a level of success somewhere.
Sue, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just going to say, excuse me, Christy. I'd be kind of interested on any other information maybe you could send about the second Sunday event.
Sure.
And also we did, well, when it was called
Yeah.
Shopping Matters and then Cooking Matters, we did that a number of times now. It's been quite a while. Interesting thing was the stores that were more willing to cooperate with us on that. They were the smaller independent IGAs in our communities. And I think just about all of those are out of business because we have a relative food desert now in our area. And we've got a big Kroger superstore in Mount Orab right off of Route 32. But it's such a huge, bustling place, we couldn't get originally we could not get cooperation from them. We do have a couple of Save-A-Lots within the two counties and they've been cooperative. But I was just thinking as you brought this up, because it's been a while, and we've talked about trying to resurrect this with our diabetes support group that we have in Brown County to try to do something like this for one of their activities. But it just hit me right off the bat that the main stores who helped us out with this, they're gone now. I don't know if you had that issue in your area or not. It's just an observation I had.
I think it's a very, very powerful one. We still have our local, there are chains locally owned type, system here, and we've not seen it personally in our community. But, I do think some of the things that we've talked about too is like you have more of like even say our Dollar General market that we have now that does offer additional food items that, there's other opportunities to think about it rather than just at like our quote grocery store, I guess. And so, but very, very much so, I can imagine the impact that that's had for you all.
Well, that's a good point that's a good point about the Dollar Generals and the Family Dollars, because when I think about our two counties, and I'm thinking about Brown County in particular, which is a little more populated, we've got about 48,000 in our county now.
Wow.
But we've actually got real supermarkets, whether it's an IGA, a Save-A-Lot, or the Kroger Marketplace, 2 communities within our county. That's it. And then, but you can go into just about any village now, and you're going to see a Dollar General and or a Family Dollar. I mean, I have to say, and some of them are out in no man's land. They're not even within a village, which is
Yes.
a good thing. And they do have food stuff. I'm not sure most of ours have branched into doing a whole lot of produce yet. But then we've got a string of marathon gas stations within our 2-county area where they have introduced some produce, at least, because those are the convenience stores are what people. So it would be interesting. And so I'm curious to know, since you're with Extension, and Sheila, maybe you or Catherine know, excuse me, know anything about this. Has there been a version of Cooking Matters that emphasizes trying to do that more through stores such as Family Dollar or Dollar General or, the convenience store? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any. They really
Okay.
kind of changed up a lot of even their training, just to train leaders and things like that. That's kind of proprietary, I want to say now.
Okay.
But I am not aware of that. But, I would think that just if your coalition wanted to, I'll certainly look into that and see.
Okay.
That, it might be a matter of you guys just adjusting, coming together, a couple of you, 2 or 3 of you together, and just tweaking the program
Yeah.
to make it work for your community.
Well, I know that somebody from the network did a presentation. Oh gosh, Sheila, I'm thinking this might have been during COVID. Maybe it was even right before COVID, but they did a presentation and they had done cooking classes online that anybody could access, but they would actually do recipes with food products that people could get at the Dollar, Family Dollar or Dollar General, that were reasonably healthy, and incorporate some of those on their cooking spots that they did online. I don't remember who it was. I don't think it was an extension service. It was through a health center, a larger health organization that had a number of centers. And I think it was in West Virginia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I wonder if it was Mingo County.
Okay, was that Williamson?
Williamson. Yeah.
Okay, I think it was.
Now, she had Kristen had a program that she did. Gosh, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank for the name of the program.
It's been a while, like I
did.
said.
Yeah, it would have probably been 3 years ago, maybe just before, since that presentation. But I could certainly try to find that one for you, because I'm sure it's on YouTube. It's been recorded and saved, and I can shoot it out. So
that would be helpful, because we do have our coalition, which is Just Diabetes, does have a Facebook page. And when we started, when COVID started, we particularly decided we were going to, do different posts related to nutrition management and physical activity and diabetes management information in general, on a weekly basis. Okay. And, a lot of that consists of linking up to other credible websites and other, videos, those kinds of things. So that would be helpful, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Wasn't Kristen's called Practice Made Perfect or something like that?
Yes, thank you.
That sounds familiar.
Thank you, Karen.
Yes, it does sound familiar.
Yes.
But I do
knew
think it is.
somebody would remember. Good.
I think a
But
lot of us are saying exactly that, Sue. I mean, our community, we're right just a little less than 10,000 population for our county, and there are
Oh,
three
wow.
Dollar General, one market, two regular stores, even within our community, and so in neighboring. You just travel and you see one. Just what was oftentimes
yeah.
we say every less than 10 miles or so, you'll find one, and so I think it's
Mhm.
very wise for us to think about how we can program and provide that education with resources that are most readily available for all of our families.
Yeah, and I would really like to know. I'll definitely look into that. And if you guys, come up with anything or try to tackle something like that, let me know or whatever. If you've been successful or whatever hiccups, I mean, it might be something that you would want to share, across the board, with this network of coalitions. But I say that too. Every few miles is a Dollar General or a Family Dollar, so they're just everywhere. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, we even have a community that has two in the same community, one on the north side and then one out on the east side, you know.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
anyway, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Thank
think
you.
yeah, I mean, it'll be good to continue to stay in a loop that looks at that type of programming, I think for sure. Um, I'll just share a little bit about, and Vicky along the way can speak more specifically about the direct diabetes education, prevention, intervention pieces. But from a coalition perspective, one of the programs that we have offered for a long time now is just an annual pumpkin walk, which is just a title that we have locally. But the pumpkin walk has maintained as one of our most consistent activities in the community. We probably average somewhere every year 300-400 people. This is just an evening event that we have at our early childhood center, which houses preschool, kindergarten, Head Start. It's adjacent to our public library. It has a loop around it, which once again, as I said, when I look at physical activity pieces, it's that walking part that's consistent. And so we, when weather permits, that's the whole focus has been to be outside with all of our vendors set up around that loop, to encourage families to walk and to interact with a variety of health and wellness resources throughout our community. And we've always asked those agencies participating to have something interactive for the families to do. And so with some health message. And so, we had about 25 different vendors participate with us this past October, ranging, again, same sort of range as what I would see as membership within our coalition. And everybody had something fun for those kids to do. Now, it may be, it could have been pumpkin and Halloween oriented, or it could have just been some general kinds of things. But I mean, it gives people a chance to get really creative with games and things. And we have a bingo check off card in which we ask every vendor to check marks, initial, whatnot, and we have some prizes and things. But that also gives us an evaluation piece. And so I will say, probably mostly from that extension perspective, I mean, always having an evaluation of what we're doing is key to me and to the success, so that it's more than just what you take away, I guess, as a planner or as a participant in those things. But we've had years in which that pumpkin walk has not just asked families to walk the loop. They're at the school, and we have like our HOSA program. They'll come and do some screenings. I think Vicky, you all have offered different things along the course of the number of years as well. But we've also been able to connect. It's an area that's close to like our fire department, and so families have been able to walk over to our fire department and do like the inflatable firehouse and get some fire safety and prevention information. We've had years in which we've also been able to extend that loop back to our wellness center, which is our only indoor pool area for the community. We've been able to interact and have different events and activities back there as well. And so honestly, it's always rewarding to see families to just engage with each other for just it may be an hour, maybe an hour and a half, but they're not focused on a device. They're not, they're really out and, spending that time together. And I think that's been one of the successful pieces of the pumpkin walk. People just kind of go with their leisure. And then over the last couple of years, our library has been able to offer like a comedian magician at the end of our pumpkin walk. And so like the number of people that have just responded to that has been I think we've all really been impressed with just people who have been willing. So our event is usually like, a 2-hour event, and then we culminate with that magician. And so, this year we even had one of our substance abuse, our regional prevention center, they provided Narcan and did some Narcan education with people while we were there. I mean, would we have loved to have had more targeted time to share information with folks? Sure. But you all know how it is. Sometimes you just have to get a little bit of information is better than no information at all. But a lot of people were able to just promote their services. That's often one of the more the places where we hear comments are like I learned a lot about insurance and opportunities available for my family. That's been a consistent part of the pumpkin walk feedback each year. But I know for us from Extension, if we're about to offer a new cooking series or something like that, it's a great chance for us to promote and to share, maybe even sign some people up for that service and program as well. And so again, Pumpkin Walk is a one-shot deal, but it is one of those programs in which the community has just come to expect it. And we know it's on our calendar every year too, as again, something that perhaps we organize through our coalition, but it involves so many different players in our community. And so when I share that 300-400, I mean, that's the culmination of, looking at adults and at youth of various ages. Even though we have it at that early childhood center, we see youth of all ages from families that participate in that with us. And I guess I share diabetes basics just in a sense of knowing that is something in which we as coalition members have been able to help promote. I think everybody always promotes what Vicky's programs through the health department with diabetes, but that is one in which I know it's been, I don't even know, Vicki, how many years ago now, but when we did the diabetes basics here, even at the extension office, it gave us a chance to do more, I guess, on like the healthy cooking side and those kinds of things. But it's, and it, again, from a partner support piece, I could put that into my calendar again, which if I think about some of those programs when I mentioned like Big Blue, Shape Up, and Weight Loss Wars, those might be things that was hard for somebody to say, I can support you and I can do this for you that length of time. But I mean, we've been able to do different interactive pieces like that. Vicki, I put support groups there just because I know that's something you may want to share some of the success or challenges with that as well.
Well, with our support groups, of course, COVID interrupted a whole lot of that stuff. We're still offering the support groups in different areas. We have some that are just like faithful for it. And then a lot of them, nobody will come to them. So our plan is to try to do that, like through the Zoom. That's our next plan, is try to offer that support groups. I have to say that pumpkin walk, I just want y'all to know that I have worked hard in those 2 hours. Those people running through, it's fantastic. So, but so I look forward to that every year to help out with that. But it's good. But we keep offering our classes both online and in person, in our county as well as our 10 county district. So. Chrissy is our go-to for all the ideas. She's awesome. I always say, hey, what would Christy be doing?
Oh, mercy. Let's not say that because that could get us all in trouble. But But I do, Vicky's right, that the pumpkin walk event it's intense for that period of time because they know they almost have to hit everybody to get their card checked off. So it's like as soon as you see a face move, there's another one in its place. Healthy Living Days is something that a number of our Health Coalition members have helped us engage and support over a number of years. That is a day in which we spend the entire day at our kindergarten talking about everything from hand washing to physical activity, gardening, differences between fruits and vegetables. And they actually get to sample a number of fruits and vegetables. Now, again, that funding is nothing that we've tried to identify specifically for our coalition. We, as Extension, can provide the sampling support there. But I do feel like it's been one of those places in which we've been able to engage our coalition members to come in and lead lessons with those kids. We've had teens that have helped us with that over a number of years, and they may go in and help read stories or lead physical activities. It again is one of those that is maintained the course of time and stands on its own. We know it's an annual event for us. And, it's the first time too that we don't just go in and try to do something with the kids. I always try to send something home that says, hey, this is what your child has done with us today. Then maybe we send home some additional information from different agencies that support some of those lessons. But it's just been a really good, sustainable program for us is to think about working in the early years to provide some healthy living education. The Longest Day of Play. Do any of you all have that as a regular program in your community? The Longest Day of Play is just a true community play day, middle of June on the first day of summer. And we've run the gamut on that one as well. We have been at our park and had that. We've been at the Wellness Center and had a variety of different community partners that have set up booths and had interactive activities. But it is really that. It is just how much can we play? And how much can we think about building in additional opportunities for families to be active together? And so we've not ran a 5K or did anything along those lines, but we have made sure that there's just a lot of different self-guided physical activity options for families as a part of that. And then when we've been like at the Wellness Center, then we used to set aside a time for like family free swim. They would give us some vouchers for families to swim. And so the last time, I guess pre-COVID or right out of the COVID gate, that we did one of the Longest Day of Play programs. We did it here at the Extension office because our office has expanded and as we built on, we had more parking lot opportunity for us to set things up. And so we didn't swim, but they gave them vouchers for families to still be able to access the Wellness Center and to go in for a free swim opportunity. And so I look at the Longest Day of Play like a way in which you're just sneaking in some education along the way when you look like you're having fun. And so I will say that's just a one-time program that doesn't require a whole lot of prep, but I think again, it is something that is expected in our community. We started community baby showers. I couldn't even tell you how many years ago now, but that is it's been a great program for us. It engages a number of partners. We target expectant and new moms with infants up to 3 months of age, and they register with us. They all get some sort of goodie bag when they arrive, and then we just have a variety of vendors that are set up to share information with those families. We then also have like little short educational segments that are shared with the entire group. So everybody stays together, obviously, for the duration of that. But I mean, it may be our folks at the health department who are providing information on safe sleep or car seat safety. We've done a lot about shaken baby syndrome before. We've covered substance use in pregnancy. We CPR. I mean, it's been real broad over the course of time. The number of people last year, I think our library also shared about like early literacy opportunities and the impact that that has. And so we had more vendors to participate in that this past year, than what we have had in the past. And folks really appreciate that. And then I know we've been able to connect with a lot of those new and expectant moms to continue their involvement in extension programs that we have that target, families with young children. I know it's been great because then they've had our information, and if they maybe didn't get connected directly with WIC the day that they were here for the community baby shower, they've called back, or they've said they have all the contact information, so we can then reconnect them to resources. Also, it's great because it's just awareness, once again, of what's available in our community. And so everybody knows to expect it. So even like our food pantry may get in, some formula samples or something along those lines. And then they'll make sure they reach out to those of us who are involved in the baby shower planning. And so that might be something else that we can throw in as a resource to families. But it's connecting people together, I think. And we try to think about the success of our events and our coalition as being like, how can we all gain something from it that helps us, meet the measures that we're all looking at, I guess, within our respective agencies and organizations. But if we really want to see engagement, let's offer as much as we can to families in one event. So that it becomes something that they look forward to in their calendar throughout the year. Because I know we're all probably in the same boat, that it's sometimes challenging and frustrating when you offer all of these programs and maybe you have 2 people or 4 people to attend, and that there's some really great information to share, and that information and education is needed. But sometimes I think what keeps us going, or what keeps Christy going, is knowing that when we plan a lot of these programs within the coalition, I've got somebody else who's going to share part of that programming, and it's going to strengthen what we do, and we're going to engage more people in it. And so I think that that's one of the things that has been so rewarding over the years. I should also say, we do not always have we don't always have 70 to 400 people at our programs. Don't get me wrong, but there are a few of those that we know are going to have our larger number of participants each year. So when I say here lately, that probably looks like, I don't know, the last 5 years, but we started this is an extension program in Kentucky called Cooking Through the Calendar. We have a healthy recipe calendar as a part of our SNAP education program in Kentucky. And so oftentimes county extension offices do a Cooking Through the Calendar, which is just a monthly 1-hour program in which people come in and they learn about how to prepare a recipe, and they're able to sample the recipe from the calendar. And that's grown over the course of time for us. And so it's been very successful. And it's also something that we share within the coalition. But again, sometimes it's just, Vicki may be working with clientele at the health department, and she may be able to say, we don't have a lot of cooking programs right now, but, connect to the extension office because they have this monthly opportunity. And so again, I think that that's the value of the connection. We haven't had a community health fair for a number of years, but over the recent past, we've been able to go to Tyson, which is our poultry processing plant here in the community, and do health fairs for their employees. And it is on our radar in 24 to plan a community-wide health fair again, with our hospital taking the lead. I think that's been one of the things that we know. Our coalition's been great to provide education and resources, but when it comes to true screenings and appointments for screenings and those kinds of things, we really need to engage more of our medical community in that. And so I'm happy to say, even early this morning, connected with our director at our local hospital, and we're meeting in the next couple of weeks to think about getting plans underway for a community health fair. Walk with Ease, Sheila can tell you, that's one of those things that stayed on my radar personally for a long time, learning about that through this connection. And it took me a while, for all the things to align for us to be able to offer that locally. But what an impactful program. I have said many times again, that, you know, once, if you find that nugget that really brings people in, the commitment that they have to programs like this is off the charts. And so we did Walk with These last year. We did that for a 6-week program, and the success that those individuals saw really, it was a real encouragement. I mean, we had people who were barely able to walk inside my office in my large meeting room in the beginning, and to where they built up to where they were committed to that 30-45 minute walking opportunity, and they had goals, and they supported each other, and they've maintained a network post program that I wish we could all have. I mean, just texting each other, making sure and that they're still walking, making sure that they're rewarding themselves for, you know, they're going with each other, and they're getting facials at our community college, and they're, you know, making sure that they're buying new walking shoes and those kinds of things. But it again was not a huge commitment of time. I mean, for us, or, you know, any one person or agency, I guess, to support, but it was just a lot of impact in our community, and so glad that we were able to offer that.
Where do people
being-
walk in your community, Christy,
Did you-
for these walking programs? Do you have a specific area, or when the group gets together? What works
Well,
for you guys?
honestly, we've done different things over the course of time. Back a long time ago, we used to call community walking champions, and we would have walks in which we would just say, okay, someone's going to be at the park to walk, you know, and they'll lead the walk today. We did it when Extension did a 7K for 7 days initiative a couple of years ago, and we targeted different areas of the community, churches that might have a little walking path, or you know, we've tried a lot with walkability over the years to connect our community to make it more walkable. Those efforts again are probably truly long term, but I mean, people have just found that there's a lot of our communities do not have a safe walking surface. So I mean, when you say walking, folks mostly think about our park and the areas in the center of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. One program, and I know we're starting to run low on time, and so I'll kick this in higher gear, but Bingo Size is a program that is through Western Kentucky University, but Bingo Size is a 10-week program for the most part that meets twice a week to encourage people to play bingo, get some health education, and have some mostly chair-based exercise that goes with that. And so Western, you know, you have to be licensed, you have to be trained, and those kinds of things. But I will say that Bingo Size, from an extension perspective, as well as getting folks paying attention to everything through our health coalition, has been one of my biggest wins professionally within the past 2 years, probably. People love it. And I will tell you, it is hard to find 10 weeks in which you can meet twice a week with a group of people when you're doing all the other activities in our jobs. And if I didn't get it on the calendar, they were going to put it on my calendar, because I didn't get to offer it in the fall because of work responsibilities that kept me out of town. And it was like, we're going to do it. And so we started another Bingo Size series this week, and they're going to adapt to, we can't always meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but like they do, they build the amount of physical activity that they're getting, and they have homework that they do, and, you know, they complete their homework and then get prizes. And so like we started yesterday for a new 10-week series, and it was 30 seconds of a variety of different exercises. You may provide education, you might roll for bingo, do a little exercise, then just kind of repeat that sequence over. And it takes about 45 minutes or so each time. But in Clinton County, it takes about an hour and a half each time, because we're very social, and it's a good support group for people, particularly coming out of COVID. And you all know how that is. I mean, everybody needs that social connection like we talked about. And so we share everything. So yesterday I was trying to talk about a little bit of the schedule, and they're just like, Christy, you might as well go get your calendar and share it with us, because we're going to need to know all the different things things that you're doing. And so then we can say this or we can, so it's really been an effective program. There's falls prevention, there's a nutrition education unit, there's an exercise only unit through bingo size. And then there's also one that had more like COVID and immunization information in it. So I'm happy to share more about bingo size in the sense of connecting you all to the folks at Western Kentucky University who are responsible for that program. Recipes for Life is an extension program that we offer, but I just share that to say it is direct education with fifth grade students, and they actually then get to utilize their education into direct cooking experiences. And so last year we had 100 some fifth graders here at my office all at one time, trying to cook and learn the basics of things. And it's intense, but you all, I think we all know it's not taught at home as much anymore. And so if we want our kids to lead healthier lifestyles later and not maybe be, challenged with chronic health conditions, then we have to equip them with some of the skills and knowledge that they need for healthy lifestyles. And so that's a win for us. And food distribution is something our coalition has gotten actively involved in since COVID, particularly when food distribution patterns changed and we need to look at drive-through and remote different delivery systems for food. We have about a 17% food insecurity rate in Clinton County, and that's something that we continue to engage in monthly through commodities distribution, but other points in time through, our mental health agencies within the schools, those school-based case managers will often connect back with us for food access for families that we have through donations. And sometimes those are actually even here at the extension office, but we do a community-wide Christmas assistance programs and we provide food for all of those families. And so it is always an issue in our community, and it takes a lot of people to pull off food distribution efforts. And I'm sure you all are aware. And just like for us, we have been without water in our community for about a week now. And I think it's, food distribution now and water access are, I put water access right up there with food distribution and the efforts of lots of different people coming together throughout the community to meet that need. I will just say we've been very fortunate to receive a number of grants throughout the years that have helped us do some different things. I've not referenced some of those today, but we had a CDC obesity prevention grant. We had a rural child poverty it was the Rural Child Poverty Nutrition Center. We had some funds for that. So honestly, for about 3 years, we were on both ends of the spectrum. We were looking at obesity and we were looking at food insecurity. And so, those things allowed us to get connected to a lot of different resources and technical assistance. And so we were able to do some infrastructure updates at our parks, our schools with water fountains. We did a lot of sampling and outreach pieces at our grocery store. We had a lot of technical assistance about making our community more walkable, as I mentioned. And so those are all things that happened at a specific period of time, but it's been really good for us to keep those resources and to keep those plans. And literally, some days I think, oh, it's like I'm a city planner because I see our farmer market, the farmers market plans that were a part of a technical assistance grant, or connections of paths and trails in the community where we could tell people here are the multiple places you could go to walk. And so nothing is ever, I would just encourage any of our coalitions to think about, don't let any grant seem like it's just short term. I mean, a lot of those dollars that we were able to get of support back in the early days through Marshall impact our programs today. And don't just say that that's over when I have to turn in my last report. I mean, keep those resources because they're going to come in handy for something else that you do to make an impact on health and wellness later on. And so again, we met Monday, wasn't it, Vicki? This has been a weird week, but and I just said, what do you all think makes us successful? And I just jotted down a couple of the comments that people shared. They talked about the events that we plan. Whether it's us as a coalition or it's our coalition partnering with other things, the community has come to expect things from us. And I think we appreciate that accountability, and it keeps us on our toes in making sure that we're aware of all the different health issues in our community. The consistency of our coalition, that we've kept it on the same day. We're the third Monday of every month at 9 o'clock, unless there's something huge. And so people have known that since we started. And we may meet in person or it may be Zoom, but there we are. And honestly, our coalition is truly that last statement. It's a hardworking group of partners who want to get in there and they want to get things done. And we realize that there's strength in being able to get it done more effectively together. And
And
so
you build
again,
a lot of trust in your community. You know, you see the
mhm,
same faces and you guys
we do.
meet, you know, regularly. Your presence is always there. You know, yes, you may have those 4 or 5 or 6 people that show up, but you're there.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
that
we are. And
consistency and building that trust, truly. Yeah.
I think, and folks just, they never know where they're going to see us. I think, Vicky and the hospital and our nutrition education program popped up at one of our, as Sue referenced, like a convenience store, and did, outreach there for World Diabetes Day. And so, I mean, like, they never know where they're going to find us, but they know that we're faithful, to be there and to try whatever we can, to meet those needs. And so again, I know it probably seems like I've rambled now for an hour talking about things for 16 years worth of programs, but I hope that there's been something that, that's helpful or beneficial in some way to maybe encourage you to continue what you're doing, or you may think of something you can share with us to help strengthen what we do. And we love opportunities to learn from other people.
Yeah, and Christy, if you could share more information about that bingo size,
Okay.
that would be great. Is there anything else, guys, that you specifically want information? I know Christy covered a lot of stuff, but she's been at it a lot of years, and they're a really strong county for sure. I really appreciate you, Christy, and thank you for coming on board and helping us out. And yeah, we would love to have, I need somebody for next month, so I'm reaching out to you guys.
I have a question, as
Yes.
usual.
Yeah.
Has anybody had experience with trying to do diabetes support groups virtually? And I'm asking this because we had a pretty steady small group that our local health department kind of took over, institutionalized within their structure out of our coalition. And it was going fine until COVID. And they were pretty much on hiatus. They just didn't feel, well, they talked to the regular members who were coming, and at that time, they just didn't, virtual was just not their thing. And they have started meeting in person again, but we're a 2-county coalition, and this is a Brown County thing, but there's people in Adams County who might want to participate, but wouldn't want to have to drive to Brown County to do it all the time. And so our folks at the health department have said that they would be willing to try to, they're on hiatus until March with the winter. And they said that they would try to make that virtual connection, have that as an option when they get started again. I didn't know if anybody had experience with that or know of a particular little reference or guide that would be particularly helpful for something like that I could recommend.
We do the virtual, because we do our virtual diabetes classes, and we do sometimes our basics classes, and we do those by Zoom. And whenever we do those, of course, with our particular things, if you're having like a diabetes class, we're always conscious about HIPAA and, trying to protect things. So we do have, and when we do our Zoom meetings, we have a consent that pops up at the beginning, so they agree to that before they proceed on. But we do our classes, our diabetes classes, when we do those online, we do those statewide. And so anybody that contacts us and signs up, we send them that link, that Zoom link. And so when we send that to them, that way we know who's coming in to that.
Okay.
So then it works pretty good with that. They've got their camera on. Sometimes we have people that we had to walk through to get them signed up. Sometimes we'll have what we call a facilitated remote. So they may be like at a library or a doctor's office or the extension office. There, and we say we zoom into them. So that, you know, but that's some options. We have done it too, where we've had the in-person class and we've had the Zoom as well. That's a little bit harder because there's like a disconnect there. And so you have
Yeah.
the person talking and the ones back here in the Zoom are just like, I'm lost. I don't know what y'all are talking about. So, but that's what our plan is as far as the support groups, because we are struggling with, in some of our counties, people coming in.
Yeah.
You know, that the extension office in about all of our counties, I know I was bragging on Christy, but Christy is really that good, y'all. I just have to say that, you know, but we partner with those folks, in our communities to try to work together to do that. But
So are you with Clinton County, Kentucky as well, Vicky?
yes,
And
She's
you're
my
with,
girl.
and are you with Extension or are you with another organization?
we have that. It's a 10
Health
county
department.
district, Lake Cumberland District Health Department.
Okay.
I'm in Clinton County. This is where I live.
Well, we've been doing virtually for 2 years now, the Prevent T2 diabetes prevention program. And that's worked pretty darn well. And people really don't want to go back to having live meetings, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
for a variety of reasons. But the support group is a little different. And so do you mind if I contact you sometime or have somebody from our health department contact you, Vicky, about you bring up the HIPAA stuff, which is something that's a totally different thing. So I think they might be interested in how other people manage that. Excuse me.
So we do have with our diabetes classes, we have a telehealth consent that, because with our diabetes classes that are series, that's 4 times a week, or 4 times, once a week, for 4 weeks. But we have a consent form they can fill out. That sometimes don't know how to do that, so that initial HIPAA consent that we have that they have to agree to, you know, that's to kind of cover ourselves as far as HIPAA goes. So, but yeah, I put my email in the chat box for you.
I think I got that. Thank you so much. So you're doing diabetes self-management classes then? Okay.
The DSPS, we do our basics, diabetes basics. I have done the diabetes prevention program through Zoom and it was successful. I had 18 people and I kept them the whole time. It was fantastic. And right now we've got that DPP, we've got it through an app that we're doing. The state has got it's through the HALT platform. And so we've been doing that. It's not been as effective as I thought it would as far as getting folks in, but we still better.
What was the name of that app, Vicky, for the DPP?
Ours is Live Healthy Kentucky is what they're calling it, but it's the HALT HALT platform that they've done.
And don't let Vicky sell herself short. She is a rock star who I think should probably present once again herself on a lot of the programs that they have been able to do, and particularly this, like the newness of the app and trying to adapt and adjust with our environment and the needs in our community.
I personally would like to hear about that more in a future virtual office.
Yeah, I would too, Vicky, because this is new. So we need to talk.
Sorry, Vicky, but it's too good to not share.
Oh, great. Does anybody
Thank
else
you.
have any other questions?
I will get that to you, Sheila. It may not be
Okay.
today. I'm getting ready to jump on a call with our ag communications
bet.
folks from campus, but
You bet. And we'll have the recording when it gets ready. And by that time, I'll send out any kind of links or other information. And, thank you all so much for joining us. And I look forward to seeing who's going to be on next month. I need volunteers. So think about that. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. It's wide open right now. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank
Thanks,
you all. Have a
everybody.
good day.
Good
Nice
seeing
to
Bye-bye.
you.
meet
Bye.
everybody again.